And a 10 fitness icon. Chica's mazer size is a way to keep kids active and healthy while also giving them an excuse to eat more of the Pizzaplex's junk, which is honestly an incredible marketing ploy, so good on Fazbear Entertainment and Scott for thinking about that one. However, it also serves as a way to get all the FNAF snobs off his back when they ask how Chica lost all that weight. Because apparently animatronics need active ways to lose weight, and it's important to the lore of the story. I guess people forget that it's a company, and characters go through design changes all the time. I want those same people to ask Chuck E. Cheese how Chucky lost so much weight and how he turned into a tiny mouse when he was originally human size. Actually, I think at this point, FNAF is more successful than Chucky's, so I'm gonna drop that. It seems now in the FNAF world, Chica is a fitness icon the likes of Jenny Craig, with the same amount of terribly evil business models. Chica is the FNAF versus Jenny Craig. Change my mind. You can't. And at 9 loves trash. Chica loves trash. Now, this could mean one of many things, honestly. It means that she could love garbage, or reality TV, or me, or our YouTube content, but in this case it means the former. Chica loves to eat trash, as in garbage, which is certainly interesting when she has a whole thing about being fit and keeping yourself in shape like we just talked about with her whole mazer size thing, but I guess it's just that like she's literally any Instagram model ever. Next thing you know, Chica's gonna be sponsored by Fit Tea. But her fascination with trash is certainly interesting from a story standpoint as well. Why does she all of a sudden love to eat trash when we know that her character loves pizza instead? My theory is that it's probably due to Afton and him being in control, since these robots are in a way an extension of him, so it would mean that Afton is trying to eat the trash to perhaps keep himself going or alive. I don't know. It's just a half-baked idea. A FNAF-baked idea. Man, that's a good name for a podcast. I keep coming up with good ones. Fred Talk FNAF baked idea? Yeah, it's great. And at 8 has a cupcake. While this isn't really present in the game all that much from what we can see, or from what I've experienced at least, in the holiday promotional art that you can find somewhere on Google, I'm sure, we can actually see that Chica has her signature cupcake. So while Mr. Cupcake may not appear on stage, it's still there in spirit. Now, the only question is this really Mr. Cupcake or not? And actually, I don't think it is. I think this is an entirely new cupcake, probably called Mrs. Cupcake. Because Chica seems to be very focused on female empowerment this go around, honestly. This is also because this time the cupcake's candle isn't blue, but rather pink. And the colors of blue and pink are most commonly associated with specific sexes. And in a game series where people were actually fighting about if there were two killers or not because one was slightly pinker than the other one, I think it's safe to say that a new candle color on an animatronic cupcake means a new animatronic cupcake. And at 7, reproduced. We now know, thanks to an interview between Dawko and someone working for Illumix, it was revealed that Illumix does indeed plan to add the Glamrock animatronics into FNAF AR Special Delivery, which opens a whole other can of lore worms that I don't really want to get into, but I guess technically I have to. Firstly, why weren't they there to begin with if these games are supposed to take place at the same time? Second, why hasn't Fazbear Entertainment shut down the Special Delivery project, especially after their Pizzaplex started getting missing children and they know that some kid ended up hacking the animatronics? No idea. And third, if they have enough materials to make a new Glamrock Freddy and ship him out to kids all over the world, why don't they remake him for the actual band instead of replacing him with Monty, like we see in the van ending? Because like I said earlier, they couldn't remake a Freddy, but now they can once they add these characters to FNAF AR, since they have to ship them out to whoever wants one. So how are they doing that if they won't rebuild one for the Pizzaplex? And at 6, special mix. Now I don't quite know why Monty has a special pizza flavored slushy syrup. Like that seems to be more like Chica's thing, but maybe they just rebranded it because Monty got more popular. No matter the corporate reason, it still seems fairly ridiculous. Throw on the fact that it's green for one reason or another and you have some seriously questionable decisions. Not only by the company, but by any kid who would drink it willingly. But of course, with it being pizza flavored, it ends up drawing Chica's attention. And not only that, but it actually makes her freak out. Quote from another lore duffel bag that we can find around the Pizzaplex: Chica report, errant behavior report. Chica's personality chip has always been a bit quirky, but the new pizza flavored Monty Mystery Mix slushy syrup has adverse effects on her programming. She has attacked patrons, employees, and staff bots for it. It is recommended that Monty Mystery Mix should be recalled before we are inundated with lawsuits, which in essence means overwhelmed with lawsuits. So it turns out that it's more Chica's special mix, if you catch my drift. Halfway through into number 5, still corrupted. In the canon ending at the very least, Vanny is still corrupted by Glitch Trap as far as we know. We haven't saved her with Princess Quest, and all we've really done is prevent Afton from taking over control of Freddy, and then his fate is left in the hands of the Blob. Honestly, when you really think about it, we didn't do much in Security Breach's true endings finale. We pushed a couple buttons, but Chica, Roxy, and Monty are still corrupted. Vanny's still corrupted. We haven't permanently killed off Afton. We just managed to run away with Freddy. We don't even know the state of the Pizzaplex at the end. Like, did this area caving in cause the Pizzaplex to cave in? Like, it's possible, because apparently the racetrack is always sinking by a few inches every time they lay down new pavement. Enough to convince some employees that they're building on a sinkhole. So, would the Afton cave crashing in cause the raceway to cave in? And if it did, would the rest of the Pizzaplex have came with it? What about Princess Quest? We know that the first game, the one we need to unlock all the others, is in the Roxy Raceway Beauty Salon. So if the cave-in would have caused the raceway to get destroyed, would the beauty salon have caved in? Would the game have made it? Would it have been broken? And if it's broken, is Vanny free or is she lost forever? These are all important questions that we don't have the answers to. And at 4, destroyed. Chica does end up getting destroyed at the end of the game. Or I guess the middle of the game, technically speaking, since after destroying Chica, you'd then go on to the Roxy Raceway, at least if you went that way first. But the interesting thing, however, is how she's able to get back into the Pizzaplex after you've destroyed her. Like, what? How? I could hardly get over those rickety old rotten planks as like a 10-year-old kid. So how on earth could Chica manage it? Even after losing more weight from her casing being broken off. It just seems basically impossible, however somehow it happened. And I think that just goes to show how much these animatronics have improved since the first and even the second game. Because originally they had their set paths. They'd always go down the same side of the security office or always crawl into the same vents, which, well, a whole other can of worms since that kind of suggests that someone intentionally coded them to attack, isn't the case with these animatronics. They don't really have set instructions they follow, which makes them even more dangerous. Getting close to the end into number 3, Arsonist. Okay, straight up, Freddy seemed a little too keen on burning down the Pizzaplex, if I'm totally honest. Don't get me wrong, we love a little arson in a video game context, but Freddy was basically looking for any excuse to burn the Pizzaplex down. He goes from, "The other animatronics are trying to help you, Gregory. I'm a material girl," to burn baby burn real fast. I don't get why he flips so quickly, but like at this point he still hadn't seen Vanny in the flesh, so like maybe his programming just went berserk, or maybe something else took over, or this could have been William's plan all along. But the biggest possibility is that Freddy has just played too many FNAF games himself and figured that burning the place down would actually destroy everything inside. In it 2, hack. We know from the get-go that these animatronics are being controlled by someone, but that's because of the trailers. Without those, we'd assume that the robots were instead just in their security mode like they had been in FNAF 2. However, when we do get the true ending, we learn that Afton was the one controlling these animatronics, and that he was the one who took over them when Vanny was bringing them down. So she didn't just like install any software on them or anything, she just had to deal with bringing them downstairs. Afton took control of them and then they went back up. The ultimate moment though is that when all 3 of these animatronics started coming at us while we were downstairs, and Freddy reveals that they're being controlled and have always been controlled by him, which puts a whole load of things the animatronics say about bringing you to your family into context, unless we aren't actually related to or intended to be related to Afton, in which case it kind of just makes everything else confusing. But like maybe it's like a forest kind of situation where Afton's recharge station is powered by an artifact that uses children as power, you know? Like in the forest and like the Timmy thing. If you've played the forest, you understand. If you haven't played the forest, you don't get it, but it's fine. But I think that would actually be an interesting crossover. Forest in FNAF? Wow. And finally, into number 1, gets repaired. We know that in the various endings, if the pizzeria is still standing, Chica does end up getting repaired, as do the various other animatronics. If you end up leaving through the loading docks and get the van ending, we see that Freddy gets replaced by Monty, and papers come out talking about the new face of Fazbear Entertainment, which makes absolutely no sense because he's a robot, just build a new one, but we can also see that all 3 animatronics are perfectly intact, no matter which ones you destroyed. So the animatronics you absolutely deck do end up getting repaired, which suggests that perhaps this was made maybe an intentional thing, like maybe making a Super Freddy was in the plan, but they didn't expect him to have an actual conscience. Either way, after Security Breach, we know that Glamrock Chica, along with Roxy and Monty, are all fixed, and probably also repaired and rebuilt after the ending of Security Breach, unless the Pizzaplex above them also caved in, but we don't know the outcome of that exactly yet. It could have caved in, it might not have, it might still be standing. I don't know. And it's 10 Trapped. We know that thanks to Glitch Trap and the Princess Quest game that Vanessa ends up becoming almost trapped in her own mind. This is still the case after the Security Breach true ending, since the true ending has nothing to do with the Princess Quest minigames, meaning that Vanny after Security Breach is still under Glitch Trap or William's control. Now, it's up in the air as to whether Burn Trap is actually dead or not, but if he is actually finally dead, I don't know if Vanny is free from his control. This is a situation we haven't really gotten much detail on, so it's entirely possible that we don't need to free Vanny anymore since her connection to William may be broken if he died. But if it's connected specifically to the Princess Quest games, she wouldn't be freed yet. So it's still up in the air as to her current fate, but I mean, it's either she's trapped or she isn't, right? It's a 50-50 if you really think about it. And at 9, Vanessa. We know that Vanny's real name is Vanessa, more now than ever before. We had ideas that they were the same character, but as soon as you pull her mask off in the rooftop ending, it's confirmed. We even get a backhanded comment of the creativity of her name when we come across her room in Phaser Quest. Freddy says something along the lines like, "Vanny sounds like Vanessa and Bunny." Doing that voice hurts my throat. Which is the story's clever way of congratulating us for making obvious connections before the game even came out. But it seems more of like a sarcastic congratulations to me, at least. Like, even Freddy can find the goddamn connection, you guys. You didn't try very hard. I mean, that's what it sounds like to me. Anyway, we do know that after Security Breach, Vanny is still Vanessa. And if literally anything else wasn't telling enough, the fact that Vanessa tells us that we deserve a reward and to come to the main stage in a horrifically creepy voice in an effort to waste our time so that we die just before winning should be enough to convince you that Vanny is Vanessa. And at 8, Therapy. Vanessa actually went to therapy, seemingly mandated by Fazbear Entertainment. We know this thanks to the 16 retro CDs that can be found towards the end of the game. They can be played with a CD player in the sister location's hidden room, and the retro CDs require Roxanne's eye upgrade on Glamrock Freddy to actually get. For the CDs to spawn in, Gregory needs to be inside of a upgraded Glamrock Freddy, be near the disc, and be looking at where the CD is highlighted. Then you exit Glamrock Freddy to collect it. If you don't do that, the CD just doesn't spawn it. The order in which the CDs are found does not seem to affect which recordings are unlocked, just the number of CDs found, which is clearly a reference to the 16 tapes found in FNAF VR. However, these tapes also seem to contain therapy sessions between Vanessa and a therapist on every disc starting with the number 7-1, because she's patient 7-1 and not patient 4-6. These mention everything from Lewis to a bunny costume. Yeah, clearly the therapy wasn't really doing much though. But I think that might have been the point. Maybe not to help her, but to make sure that Afton was still under control and that she was still scared of him. And at 7, Chica Feeding Frenzy. We know that there are various arcade machines around the Pizzaplex, most of which are unplayable because they're unplugged or because the Pizzaplex is closed, whatever the reason may be. We seemingly can't play most of these games like Mangle's Quest. However, according to maintenance logs, there are some games that still work. The Princess Quest series is one of those, for example, because, you know, they're needed for the best ending, so they still need to be on. However, apparently there is a whole game based on Chica, which is playable, which could have some further implications since it seems to be haunted. Quote from the Lord Duffelbag, maintenance log, Chica Feeding Frenzy in the bakery won't turn off, even when unplugged, the game just kept running. There is no way it has that much residual charge, end quote. So how can this game still be on when it's not plugged in? Seems pretty absurd to me. And with games like Mangle's Quest being present, it only makes me think, is there a secret 7th ending a la the Happiest Day minigame that we can only access by playing all these additional arcade games? And at 6, Aware. Now we may believe that Vanessa is unaware of her dual personality, that it would make sense if she blacks out when William takes over as Vanny, or however this weird pseudo-possession thing works. However, that's not the case at all, as we learned from CD number 11. It doesn't matter in what order you find these endgame CDs, you just need to find 11 of them in order to hear this. And we get our first indication that Vanessa is truly Vanny. Well, at least the first indication from the tapes, that is. About halfway through this tape, the therapist says, "That's true, so, on your breaks it looks like you were shopping for a costume. You purchased some fake fur material. What are you going to make? Vanessa then mutters indistinctly, and the therapist replies with, what was that? Did you say the costume is secret? Why is that? Vanessa then says, I can't talk about this. He said he would always be watching. He could be here or there or anywhere in between. Have a listen for yourself.
That's true. So, on your breaks, it looks like you were shopping for a costume. You purchased some fake fur material. What are you gonna make? What was that? Did you say the costume is a secret? Why is that?
I can't talk about this. He said he would always be watching.
That line of he said he would always be watching surely means that she has some idea about what's going on, especially when she's openly talking about how she's making a costume, or at least mutters about it indistinctly after he brings it up. Halfway through into number 5, possibly possessed. There's also a theory going around, or at least recently going around, that Freddy Fazbear in this game is actually possessed by the spirit of one Sir Michael Afton, the son of Purple Guy and the older brother to Crying Child, who some also believe is in this game in the form of Gregory. While this would explain the brother-like bond of the two protagonists, this theory isn't 100% confirmed, so for the moment, it's just a theory. A game theory! But the possibility of Michael Afton surviving the FNAF 6 fire and going on to possess Glamrock Freddy actually does make sense, especially given that we've seen everyone else that was in the FNAF 6 fire that contained remnants still at least partially alive and kicking. Burn Trap is still there, Molten Freddy, Scrap Baby, and the puppet are all in the form of the Blob, so it would make sense for Michael, who is also supposed to have perished in that fire, to still be alive. Especially because we never see a body. And at 4, connections. Now, whether or not she knew about this, Vanessa's recommendation for the night guard position came from the top, which does end up confusing plenty of people in the administration, as we learn from various duffel bags. She had no security experience, and she was transferred from another part of the company, that being the special delivery unit. But nevertheless, she still got the job despite multiple people saying that they wouldn't go forward with hiring her, which probably led to their deaths, if we're totally honest. So, who on earth is the one ordering her promotion? Seemingly, we have no idea. Like, we could assume William, but he's currently plugged in charging in the basement. So it would have to be someone who knew her, knew Afton's interest in her, made her a VR tester so she could get possessed, and then made her a security guard so Afton could get to her and get her to do what he needed. But who could it possibly be? That's a theory for another day, once I come up with an explanation. Getting close to the end into number 3, can't sing. Originally, without a guitar, we assumed that Chica was the backup singer for the Fazbear band. But recently, this chicken started shredding that bass harder than the waiter after they asked me to say when with the freshly shredded Parmesan. The reason they gave Chica the guitar that I actually find absolutely hilarious. After saving Freddy from parts and service, we learned that each animatronic has their own upgrade that you can steal and install into Freddy. But Chica's isn't really an upgrade, it's rather an error. See, they wanted her to be able to sing with Freddy, but the voice box they used was so horrible and so grating that it actually caused the other animatronics to malfunction and caused some audience members to have like bleeding coming from their ears or maybe even go deaf. So we end up using this to our advantage by using it as a way to stun and shoo the animatronics, but since this was so bad, they instead just gave Chica a guitar, and that's pretty damn fun. And ultimately, in at number 2, Vanessa A. While we already knew that her name was Vanessa, other sources claim that her last name has been confirmed to start with the letter A. Now, I remember this being a thing, but I don't remember where it started, so I can't confirm if this is still the case. However, the idea that Vanessa is an Afton is only growing stronger after Security Breach, with the parallels via the bunny costumes being obvious, but now her sitting on a hill with Gregory, wearing purple, her last name starting with an A, and her being pushed forward by the company by some unseen force, we're starting to see that maybe somehow Vanessa A could indeed be Vanessa Afton. Now, is this canon? Not at the time of recording. Is it possible? Entirely. We have no idea what is and isn't possible anymore in this series, to be totally frank. But is it likely? I don't know. It's also possible that Vanessa is not an Afton and that the A is just a red herring. There's also the very real possibility that the A we found was just a mistake and now it's being corrected. We don't know, but only time will tell. Finally, in at number 1, still kicking. We also know that at the time of Security Breach's true ending, Vanny is still alive, as far as we know anyway. The Pizzaplex could have caved in on her, but with how things are going and like how Afton always comes back, I think it's safe to say that Vanny is still alive. Especially especially since in basically every ending she has a plan of escape. Freddy lights the place on fire and she's somehow already on the roof. Sure, she doesn't make it out alive, but had Freddy not been there, she would have. If we leave on our own, she still finds us, so she's still alive at that time, and every other time we don't really destroy the Pizzaplex, so there's no reason for her to die. So as far as we know, and according to past trends in the FNAF sphere, FNAF universe, Vanny is indeed still alive post security breach. The question is, will we be seeing her again soon, or are we going to be waiting forever to find out what really happened to her? And it's head glitched. We know that at the beginning of the game, during the main show that every kid comes to the Pizzaplex for, Freddy ends up glitching and ruining the show. It's as if it was his fault that he glitched. At least it seems like that when Vanessa was blaming him. But ultimately, we assume that this glitch is the reason Freddy isn't trying to capture us. But this glitch seemingly also is what really sets this whole game in motion, and what results in the ability to end with the true ending. Since without that glitch, Gregory wouldn't have hid inside Freddy, and then he probably would have been caught and subsequently killed by Vanny, most likely. Or whatever she was doing with these kids, like using them to power Afton or whatever. And at 9, replaced. Thanks to the chat that Vanessa has with Freddy in the parts and service room, as well as the newspaper clippings we get in the van ending, we know that once Freddy leaves the Freddy Fazbear's Mega Pizzaplex, Monty ends up replacing him. I don't know why, thanks to a point later on, but my original theory was that they couldn't build another one. However, it's probably just because they knew he wasn't under Afton's control anymore, and they probably didn't want to risk getting another Freddy to do the same thing, whether it's because of the glitch alone, or if perhaps it's because Glamrock Freddy is possessed by Michael is up for debate, but if he was possessed, I doubt that they would know that, or if Afton did know that, I guess he wouldn't want another Freddy because it wouldn't be the one with his son inside, which could also make sense. And at 8, upgraded. At the end of the true ending, we have a fully upgraded Freddy with our player character. The first time we have an animatronic on our side, and this will continue to be the case in future games, as long as we play as Gregory again, because Freddy seems to be sticking by our side, which is honestly a whole other topic for another video. Like, if we do end up moving forward as Gregory with Freddy by our side, obviously he now has all the issues like hourly recharging fixed somehow, but he also has like Roxy's eyes, Monty's claws, and Chica's voice box. So we could basically do anything and the animatronics wouldn't really be able to stop us, especially because we have Monty's overpowered Fists of Calamity, or whatever they're called. And it's 7, Ness. With these interviews or therapy sessions, however, we also get more information and clues to the story of the previous 3 FNAF games. Okay, well, 2 main series games and 1 spin-off. Yes, it's correct. These therapy sessions confirm our suspicions that Vanessa was indeed Ness from FNAF AR. So, with this revelation, we know that in FNAF AR we played as Vanessa, who was probably put there by someone higher up at Fazbear Entertainment because they knew what Afton was planning. We got possessed with our mind getting locked inside Princess Quest. We then got sent to the special delivery unit to install our virus on various animatronics as potentially even a test run, and then we were moved to head security guard for the Pizzaplex, which is where security breach starts. So, thanks to the simple mention of Lewis and her looking up odd things at work, along with her secret encrypted conversations, we know the full story of Vanessa since FNAF VR, so it's pretty sweet, actually. And at 6, good. At the end of FNAF Security Breach, luckily, Freddy is still on our side. Something that I thought was impossible when the game first came out. But for the first time, we have an animatronic on our side and still on our side at the end of the game. I said the games could go anywhere now with all the possibilities introduced by such a vague ending, but with an animatronic on our side, the possibilities are even grander than I originally realized. Like, the sheer possibilities, it's astronomical. This could in reality be the start of the end of FNAF. If Glamrock Freddy is set on making sure that nobody ends up vanishing because of Fazbear Entertainment again, bro, I mean, like, imagine Glamrock Freddy like having like a press conference or something, telling people not to go to the Fazbear restaurants. That would be hilarious. Halfway through in at number 5, special delivery. In an interview with Daco, it was revealed that Illumix does indeed plan to add the Glamrock animatronics to FNAF AR special delivery, which opens a whole other can of lore worms that I don't really want to get into, but I guess I have to. Firstly, why weren't these there to begin with if these games are supposed to take place at the same time? Or if they're supposed to take place in tandem because the robots are glitching because of Vanny. But second, why hasn't Fazbear Entertainment shut down the special delivery project yet, especially after the Pizzaplex started getting missing children? Third, if they have enough materials to make a new Glamrock Freddy bot and ship him out all over the world to kids, why don't they remake him for the actual band instead of replacing him with Monty like we see in the van ending? And last but not least, will Glamrock Chica be a robot for the dads or for the kids? okay? Because I think that Fazbear Entertainment isn't above such unholy things in order to make some money. But I think that it would require a special level of stupid for someone to actually do that with an animatronic that is actively on the fritz. Like, the slightest twitch, and Chica will end up bite of 87ing your junk. And that doesn't sit right with me, okay? No matter how many jokes I make, that's just a bad idea. And at 4 sees Vanny. We know at the very beginning of the game, Freddy is unable to see Vanny for whatever reason, since when we ask, what the hell was that, he responds with, that's a fountain. However, thanks to the newly installed eyes we got from Roxy's accident, Freddy, as we see in the rooftop ending, can now see Vanny. I don't know why Roxy's eyes let Freddy see Vanny. Like, if the animatronic seeing you was an issue, why not prevent them all from seeing you? But okay. So after the game, we know that Freddy is now on some super mega ultra eye level, and they're going to burn a hole in my soul and then make me weep for salvation. I don't know what I'm talking about, really. But look, okay. Freddy, at the end of Security Breach, can see things in a whole new light, meaning that if he is with us for the 10th game, we are going to have some seriously dope and potentially even overpowered abilities. But frankly, I bet the next game forgets all about the upgrades, or just doesn't have Freddy or Gregory in it. Getting close to the end, and in number 3, not a robot. While it may seem like Vanny has some very possessed animatronic-like mannerisms, we can basically guarantee that she's a human based on all this other evidence. If she wasn't a robot, there would be no reason for her to have to go to therapy, and the shrink would be able to tell that something wasn't right when she did go to therapy. He would have included some mention of robots at some point or in some aspect to gauge her reaction. We can also guess that the rooftop ending where we see 2 of her is purely meant to be symbolic, since the panels containing Vanessa looking down are separate from the rest of the ending's panels. And while we may not see any blood around her body anytime she does bite the dust, that's probably because it would be a little too much for a FNAF game. Although we also don't see her torn open after Freddy, like when he gets disassembled. She's never torn open like that. So it's pretty much set in stone that Vanessa, or Vanny if you prefer, is in fact a human, which is probably a good thing if we're honest, because it means that she can actually die. But ultimately, in at number 2, operational. In the end of Security Breach, Freddy is still operational. Somehow, again, despite the fact that he should need to recharge every hour. Unless the whole after nearly taking control of Freddy thing fixed his recharging issue, or something similar, unless they took the van, which was never shown in the ending because, you know, they had to run out of a collapsing cave. I genuinely don't know how Freddy at this point is still operational, so if any of you have any ideas or something, please let me know in the comments, because he shouldn't have been able to make it to that hill. The charger in the basement could not have been that powerful, especially because he has to get in it multiple times during that final battle. I seriously have no idea how that works. And finally, in at number 1, ahead of the game. While he is fully assembled and operational at the end of the true ending of the game, in the Princess Quest ending, he's only ahead, since the rest of him was destroyed by Vanny. So, while this may not be the case after the canon ending, it's known now that Glamrock Freddy can operate without the rest of his body. In this scenario, he only really needs his head to function. And interestingly enough, he seemingly also doesn't really need his head, since in the parts and service room, his body can jump scare you while you're reattaching it, but like his head won't be connected to his body, which, while it is one of the funniest jump scares in the game, indicates that his head and his body operate separately, which can have a whole other set of implications lore-wise that, again, I don't want to talk about.